In terms of the research that we're doing at Biologic, we do have multiple researchers that are doctorates running the research program. And we have amazing outcomes that relate to this product that have been published in medical journals. So a lot of the paper, the discoveries, and the science that I'm going to talk about today in layman terms is published in peer-reviewed medical journals so that people can leverage that information and reference it. But I'm going to talk a little bit about what we do to have achieved what we've achieved here, and then give you an idea of what's so different about what we do. What is ketone? So at Biologic, what we do as research is we actually test how these compounds work at a cellular level in your cells and how they affect genomic activity and proteomic activity to change the behavior of your cell. So when we're formulating and we're generating these technologies, we're not just slapping these things together and saying, hey, here's a great story. No, we're actually measuring and quantifying how they work inside your cells. And here's what they do. Here's what KETOBA does. Many of you have heard about exogenous ketones and ketogenic diets and ketosis. And I'm going to give you a roundabout description of how this all relates and how the products that we offer here as KETOBA are different than your typical exogenous ketone. Typically what happens is that, you know, if we are to engage on a ketogenic diet, the ketogenic diet is a low carb, high fat diet that restricts not just carbohydrates, you try to also restrict calories to induce ketogenesis. And what that means is what we're trying to do is get the body to make ketones inside the body endogenously. So we're trying to have your body make ketones. And why? Because you're restricting carbohydrates, and the body says, hold on a sec, my brain doesn't have glucose to function with, so it needs to make ketones. And the reason is that the peripheral tissues of your body can actually use fat as a primary source of energy to make ATP or energy for your cells, but your brain cannot. The brain cannot, because fat cannot efficiently or effectively at all translocate or move into the brain through the blood-brain barrier. And so then the brain, if you don't have carbohydrates or glucose available because you've restricted carbohydrates, then the brain says, I want glucose, I want carbs. And that's what makes you crave carbs. That's what increases your appetite and cravings for carbohydrates. It's the brain saying, I don't have glucose, not the body. So the cool thing is that it will take between 48 hours and 72 hours, depending on the person and depending on how you've trained your body, to make ketones that can actually travel across the blood-brain barrier to your brain and effectively be used by your brain to make energy. And then your brain's happy. So it usually takes 48 hours to 3 days. And then your brain says, okay, you know what? I'm happy now. But most people can't make it through that 72-hour period without cheating on the carbs and then interfering with that ketogenesis that's supposed to occur in the body spontaneously and internally or endogenously. So when you go on this ketogenic diet, it's a long time for the body to make enough ketones, right? So people are trying to go into what's called ketosis, because ketosis describes an elevated level of serum ketones beyond what is normally there. So the baseline normally is 0.1 millimoles, and we're trying to raise it so that the blood's concentration of ketones is high enough that the brain is getting what it needs so that you feel happy. And when you raise serum ketone levels high enough, you actually make enough energy in the brain that exceeds what your brain would make with glucose. And in fact, it's said, the research shows that your neurons can make as much as 38% more ATP using ketones as a primary substrate for energy, more ATP, with less oxygen. Which means if you're on a run or your brain is requiring energy, you don't need as much oxygen to pull into your body. And you usually are able to compete or run with endurance and stamina events much more effectively when you're using fat and ketones as a primary substrate for energy. So lo and behold, we've come upon a time when we have these exogenous ketones that we can supplement with, whether they're esters or salts. And what we've done is very carefully created a blend of keto salts, which are beta hydroxybutyrate salts, which then give your body an array of salts that are electrolytes. So at the same time that you get your exogenous ketone, you get electrolytes. But the key difference is that these ketones in ketoba, it's keto-ba, B-H-A. Keto-ba means the ba is BA, is butyric acid, a short chain fatty acid. So not only do you have the ketone, you have a short chain fatty acid coupled to the ketone. This changes everything. Now, this is a patented technology where the BA, the butyric acid or butanoic acid, the short chain fatty acid, not a medium chain triglyceride, the short chain fatty acid acts like a signaling agent to your liver. So imagine, here's what happens now. If you take regular BHB, you take the supplement, serum ketone levels rise, now you're in ketosis. But our research shows, and it's published in peer-reviewed medical journals, that your body stops making its own ketone. So you stop using your own fat as a primary substrate for ketone generation. So ketogenesis shuts down, and fatty acid oxidation slows down. Lipolysis slows down. It means that your body is less likely to use its own fat to make energy. So what we have gone ahead to do is say, look, it's important in these cases to supplement with exogenous ketones because it raises brain energy, okay? It can be pre-diabetic, insulin resistant, and many of us aren't necessarily to the point where we have type 2 diabetes, but pre-diabetic states, so that it may be difficult for you to burn fat. It may be difficult for you to actually engage in physical activity and recover from physical activity the way you did when you were younger. But if you take the exogenous ketone, it can help you by improving insulin resistance, by improving blood sugar clearance, and giving you a secondary energy substrate so your brain can function at full capacity when you restrict calories or carbohydrates. That's the objective. But now you have the ketoba, which is coupling the butyric acid to the exogenous salt, so that when you take the exogenous beta-hydroxybutyrate or ketone, when you take that supplement, this BA, which is attached to it, goes to the liver and tells your liver to continue to make ketones through what's called beta oxidation. So it never stops your ketogenic process or endogenous or internal production of ketones. So just because you supplemented now with this exogenous ketone, you've immediately raised your brain's energy capacity and energy level, and you feel fantastic. But you've also continued to ping the liver to tell it to make ketones from your own fat, so you're burning your own fat. That's the key difference. And so what do you feel when you're doing this? You take exogenous ketones in the form of ketoba, you feel great, you can engage in physical activity, and you begin to burn fat during that physical activity from the minute you start. Now keep in mind, typically if you get on a treadmill or you go for a run or you go for a ride on your bike and you're looking to burn calories in the form of burning fat, don't think you're going to burn fat from the minute you start. You actually takes about 20 to 30 minutes, most people 15 to 25 minutes before you start really burning enough fat with the glucose and glycogen. But what happens from the time you start your physical activity is you're burning glycogen in the muscle and in the liver, glycogen. And the burning of that glycogen can take up to 15 or 20 minutes to deplete enough so that you start increasing the amount of fat you burn. When you take ketoba, you begin to burn fat from the second you start your physical activity to the end. And you continue past your physical work because the BA, the butyric acid, signals your liver again to make ketones from your own fat. So it creates an endogenous system. Now that means that you're taking the exogenous ketone to start things off, but you have an endogenous system working, internal system, continuing to add ketones to the bloodstream from your own fat. If you take the ketone salt only, BHB only, your body will burn through the BHB because there's 5.4 calories per gram of ketones. Remember, protein, you're going to have 4 calories per gram. In the ketone, there's 5.4, more than fat, more than carbohydrate and protein per gram, less than fat. But you still have to burn through that. Now what we're doing is giving you an amount of the exogenous ketone in ketoba in your B-KETO or your EPIC ketone. This is a unique technology that's patented that you cannot get anywhere else. Okay, but what it does, supplies that primer and gets the body going and working with you towards your goal to use fat as a primary source of energy, burning your own fat, never inhibiting the process. So you don't have to be on a ketogenic diet to use this. I'm on a low carb diet, not a ketogenic diet. And I use this for my fasting workouts. So if I work out in the morning to do my cardio, I take this before, because when you sleep, you go into ketosis. You wake up fasted. That's why we take breakfast to break the fast, breakfast. But instead of breaking the fast in the morning for me, I'll take my 1 serving of Ketoba, do my cardio, and continue to burn fat as a primary energy substrate and ketones as a primary energy substrate during the workload. And I'll tell you, you get on that fasted workout, you can work hard, not burn muscle, and continue to burn fat. Not only that, you can finish that workout and you will not feel an ounce of hunger because the brain is happy. The brain has all the ketones it needs to stay happy and energized. And if you don't remember to eat, you won't remember to eat until around 1, 2, or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So, excuse me. So I plan my eating and make sure that I eat small bits here and there because I know that I won't crave food because, again, my brain is happy and saying I don't need glucose. There's no fluctuations in blood sugar, okay? Well, there might be fluctuations, small fluctuations in blood sugar, but it doesn't matter because it's buffered by the ketones. So let's say, for example, your eating does get bad throughout the day where it's inconsistent and sporadic. Blood sugar may do this up and down, but your brain is saying, it's okay, I have a lot of ketones. So the level of energy in the brain stays consistent. And the brain never says, oh my gosh, I have low blood sugar, help me, I need food. No, the brain is steady. So what happens is you are in control, not only of your day, but of your diet and your food choices because there's no impulsive eating. And that's why the Ketoba or the B-ketone in the EPIC community now gives you an empowerment, not only of physicality, but of cognitive and willpower. Because now you're in control of your day, your energy level in the brain is optimized, your thinking power, if you have shortness of thought and even pre-clinical dementia or things like that, this helps completely new level so that you track of your day, you don't lose track of your thoughts. Your brain just works at a completely different level of functioning. And I've just taken a dose in the afternoon at 3. So I'll take my dose in the morning when I work out. If I haven't worked out in the morning, I'll take it at 3 o'clock. Why? Because by around 3 is when I get hungry. And if I have to come home at 5 or 6 o'clock and not have food ready, then you start impulsively eating before your meal's ready. Well, no, if you take Ketoba at 3, you're in full control. No hunger, brain is happy, you come home, you eat what you're supposed to eat instead of eating impulsively before you have your meal ready. So those are the kinds of things that you should expect. You can either take it in the morning before your workout, take it in the day before a workout, or take it in the day to hold you over so that you're in control of your diet and your general lifestyle. But what you'll find is that your brain's going to work at a completely new level. Your metabolism is going to work with you towards your goals. And it doesn't mean that this product's going to start to have all this weight shed off for you spontaneously. What it does mean is that whatever you do in terms of your weight management program, whether it's dietary, whether it's exercise, whether it's all that stuff combined, you'll have way better control in your diet, in your exercise program to continue the program longer throughout your workout. And you're going to burn more fat during the workout. And you're going to control your diet so you don't eat more calories than you need. So you're in full control on the ketone. Completely different strategy than regular ketone salts, which are okay for some people. And the dose that's required for regular ketone salts is not the dose that's required for Ketoba, based on the fact that you have the signaling mechanism to actually tell your body to make ketones, to add them to whatever you're taking, so that you're not having to get through and burn all of the calories in the ketone supplement you just consumed, because you're using the calories that come from your body fat to make ketones to keep you going. You see the strategy? It's very facilitative in terms of fat loss. Regular ketone salts do not induce fat loss. It's clear, not only in general research, but in our research, which is published, shows Fatty acid oxidation is completely inhibited, lipolysis is inhibited, and ketogenesis is inhibited when you take the exogenous ketone. The same research program we ran shows when you take ketoba, fatty acid oxidation increases, ketogenesis increases, meaning you're producing more ketones from your own body fat, and your energy levels increase significantly, and they can be mapped clearly as you see in the research if you want to reference it. So that in a nutshell kind of rounds out how and why this product works so well. I've been using it for so long. I'm 54 years old and my metabolism works just like a 25-year-old. If I'm not taking it, it doesn't work the same way. I have my energy level at 5, 6, 7 o'clock. I can go all night. And the cool thing is that you don't get this jittery energy that keeps you up at night, because believe it or not, when you put your head down and you're in ketosis and you have an elevated level of ketones, then your body can relax. It's not like caffeine. It's not like caffeine that makes you jittery and stressed and anxiety. It's a very even-keeled, controlled energy up here, not jittery energy in your body. It's energy in your head that allows you to be empowered and achieve whatever goal you want to achieve, whether it's cognitive, academic, or physical.